Hello everyone, this is Julia from Craft Room Adventures. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a new card to share with you and it features the Banner Buddies stamp set by Hello Bluebird and also the Seaside Girls. I challenged myself to use all of the stamps I bought over the past few months before I start with my Christmas crafting, and I really wanted to use the adorable little Seaside Girls, but I also didn't really want to make another sea or beach themed card. So I decided to use this little cutie on a fall themed card. I thought it might be fitting that she might go searching for mushrooms with her little bucket, and so that's the scene I created. I stamped out all of my images onto Bristol smooth cardstock from Strathmore using Versafine Onyx black ink, and I'm coloring all of them using Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers and Arteza brush markers. For her hair, I'm using the color Ginger from the Arteza range and number 71 for her skin. That one's a Zig marker, sorry. For a little pink on her cheeks, I used the color 201, Pink Haze from Zig. Now I'm going in with a second layer of the ginger color to add more shading to her hair. Coloring in the bow on top of her head and the dress in the color Apricot from Arteza. Now I'm coloring in my little squirrel with the Arteza markers in 102 and 137, and I'm also just blending them out with my water brush. And here I'm using Oatmeal, Zig Clean Color Real Brush Marker, and blending that out again. Here I'm using the same marker, just deepening up the color. And again going back with Oatmeal. Here I'm going in with the color Coffee, 134. Now I'm going to color in the tiny mushrooms, and for those I'm using 137 tawny and 102 pale peach. Just deepening up the color here. My upstairs neighbor just started singing. I hope you can't hear that. Let me know if you can. Now I'm going to color the leaves, and I'm using the Arteza markers in 175 pale peach, 116 peach, 124 apricot, 169 orange rust, 126 crocodile green, and 128 bumblebee yellow. The colors are, as usual, also listed on the screen for future reference. I'm just pretty much just going in wherever, randomly selecting leaves and just coloring half of them. And then I'm selecting a second color to shade the rest of the leaf to give it like a falling leaves, like they're just changing colors kind of vibe. And that finishes up the coloring for my card. I die cut the Hello Bluebird spooky scene to create my forest later, and now I'm just ink blending the background in squeezed lemonade and dried marigold distressing. I'm just using my inexpensive makeup brush and blending the colors back and forth until I'm happy with the result. Now I'm ink blending the hill of the spooky scene using peeled paint distressing. I was getting fingerprints all over, so I decided to use a little bit of Post-it tape. And for the trees, I'm using gathered twigs distressing. I'm just carefully blending those because some of the twigs are really fragile. But I also die cut 2 grassy knoll dies, the cloud borders, for which will be treetops in my scene. I'm ink blending them using spiced marmalade and abandoned coral, which I thought were really nice colors for a fall forest look. And I'm just ink blending the edges with abandoned coral to give them more of a reddish tone. Here are all the elements of my scene. I am just starting to figure out how it all will come together. Here are all the elements I colored. and I'm just placing all of the images to see how it's going to look. Now I want to stamp my sentiment, and I'm trying to figure out which sentiment to use. And this is the one I decided to go with, the Autumn Blessings from the Fall Buddies stamp set. So now I'm just taking my hill, my stamp platform. I'm just closing the lid and inking up the stamp with Versafine Clair ink in Pinecone. I didn't want it to be a harsh black, so I decided to go for a dark brown, I'm sorry. And now it's time to assemble my scene. I decided that I wanted to have the treetops not in front of the tree trunks, but I wanted them cut out. So I ran those through the spooky scene dye as well. It takes a little bit of fumbling around to fit them in later, as you will see, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now I'm just gluing down the frame to my background using the Lawn Fawn glue tube. Still had a little bit of post-it tape on there. Just pressing that down really well and cutting off any excess off to the side with my cutting. Now I'm placing down the hill using liquid glue as well, and then the trees. Now it's time to adhere the elements for the top of the tree, and I'm just piecing them in because I cut them with the same die, they fit in perfectly. And now I'm just placing that in. On the right side, it's a little bit trickier because the tree crowns overlap. I didn't really think about that while I was cutting them, so now I just have to adjust. First I'm placing in the little pieces. And then I'm piecing in the bigger piece, but it overhangs quite a bit over the other one. So I decided to trim off some of it, just using my Tim Holtz scissors. I marked it off with a pencil and then I just snipped it off. And I'm also placing that down with liquid glue. But since there was this little bit that was still overhanging, I also marked it down with a pencil and trimmed it with my scissors off camera. And then I just adhered it down using liquid glue. Oh, I hadn't glued that down yet. Alright, that finishes off the forest scene for my card. Now it's time to add my images. I had already cut a tiny little slit into the bucket so that I could place some mushrooms in there. So now I'm just adhering those with liquid glue into the slit I cut. And by the way, I did pull out the sleeves, but my fluffy blue rope keeps popping into the frame, trying to look professional but failing. Now I'm just letting those mushrooms dry, and I'm adding my little girl into the center of my scene. And I'm placing the pile of leaves on top so that it looks like she's just having fun in leaves falling from the trees. Now I'm adding some mushrooms to my scene using liquid glue. Now I'm just adding some mushrooms to my little critter to hold, like they're just handing mushrooms to her, helping her pick them. And I realized I didn't die cut enough mushrooms, so I'm pulling one that I adhered earlier up and adding it to my little squirrel. I'm using some reverse tweezers to hold them in place while they dry, and adding the images using foam tapes as usual. Now I'm just going ahead and adding a few more leaves to the scene. Here and there to make it look cohesive. Where I pulled up the mushroom, there was still a little glue peeking out, so I added another leaf to cover that up. I decided not to put any leaves on the tops of the trees because they looked fine as they were. And now I'm just adhering everything to an A2 sized white card base using adhesive runner. Pressing it down firmly to make sure it sticks. And that finishes up my card for today. I really hope you enjoyed this one. It was so much fun to make and turn a seaside girl into a fall girl. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope you consider subscribing to my channel for more videos. Have a great day. Bye guys!